what is the overall landscape? It straddles, as you can see, 6 ministries. Two ministries focusing, Ministry of Housing and Ministry of Finance, on mainly subsidy based and incentive based housing. And then three ministries, Ministry of Power, MOEF, and the MNRE focusing on the green habitats. And then you have Ministry of Women and Family Welfare focusing on women along with Ministry of Housing. So straddle 6 ministries, national level, state level, their counterpart departments, and then also local bodies. So multi-scalar, multi-institutional and fragmented policy landscape in which this very complex but very, very relevant initiative of green affordable housing for women is being delivered. And it is really mind-boggling, and this research really was needed through this technical assistance for a local supply mechanism to understand what is happening on ground and how to make their way through these complex mechanisms. But the good news is, if they decode it, then they can make green and affordable housing projects viable and profitable, is what we have found through our research. And I think that is what is the effort here, to decode that.
Now, what will happen when these things start converting themselves into disclosure norms and guidance from Reserve Bank of India is that the banking sector will start looking at its portfolio and where it lends and to whom it is lending and what is its portfolio composition in terms of stability of its loan book and the risks that it must minimize going forward. So I can tell you that buildings is very much a key sector for Reserve Bank of India, and we are working on independent and empirical studies which will keep on informing what Reserve Bank of India is doing. And when banks start looking at their portfolio, you basically are then saying who are their borrowers, because they also want to be on lending, putting those loans in the market system. And that bank and borrower engagement is beginning to happen, or at least it is the intent of the regulator that it happens. We are going to be engaging in those conversations. Now, quickly moving on to the other side of risk, which is the opportunity. So where is there capital coming to green buildings? So the first thing is that the interest is there, okay? And then there is a but, okay? The interest is there from largely national investors, and then there is a but. The but is that we do not have the pipeline of credible green housing projects.
And one of the reasons of Edge, it's one of the newest ones to come, I mean, although we're just 9 years old, 8 years old, is that it was created for our own investee companies to have a simpler method of trying to address and achieve green as a performance standard. The focus was on resource efficiency and on context. So when you are being compared to do green, you are comparing yourself to a non-green building in your same location. So if you're building in Taramani in Chennai, you are compared to that and not Tokyo. So that was the rationale to do that. It's a public good, which basically means that with every usage it sort of gets better, and it's used across asset classes as well. And now there are 80 countries from where we get certifications across, and it's only getting better. In India, we're a newer entrant, so I think the advantage that we have is that we can push others to attain some amount of simplicity and relevance to get this thing done faster. That's pretty much it. But I think there is a need. Everybody feels there's a need to harmonize these, because there's a big cacophony of so many things, and it gets a little difficult, especially in the housing sector, for clients, developers, financiers to figure out what's happening in terms of certification.
There is affordable green housing. While we brought in the definition of a green bond framework, we also noted that we'll have to look at it a little futuristically, because India has been one nation which has promised internationally that we will do certain things. So, like for example, creation of a carbon sink, ensuring that your GDP, the emissions portion of GDP is reduced. So we have made these promises in the United Nations, and we need to ensure that there is adequate transition for this, right? So we have brought in the concept of a transition bond. And it will be denoted with a different denotation called GB-T. So this is one of the world's first unique transition bond structures that we have brought. We have also brought in the concept of yellow bonds, because while I was going through the book on green housing today morning, and there were certain facts which actually startled me, like for example the Cochin airport being India's first 100% solar airport. Right? Like, see, there are so many things that are happening amidst us, which can be a lot of things for us to learn, right? So towards that, we have brought in the concept of an yellow bond. And you'll be very surprised that the first adopters of all these, this framework have been the municipalities in India. Like, we have the concept of a municipal bond also. So municipal green bonds are actually, there is a lot of traction on the municipal green bond framework, which we believe over a period of time will rub off on the corporate also, right? So because there needs to be some traction somewhere. So because most of the projects, if you see of a municipality, have an element of greenness already embedded into them.